Hey guys, DanG2, back with more Spiral Nights. I thought we were done here. I mean, I kind of never uploaded the end of the year video, because I never really got a good take of it going, but I thought we were kind of done, but apparently my sick sadistic mind decided I'm obligated now because yeah, apparently Spiral Knights decided to follow me on Twitter, so I feel like I'm obligated to at least do something for Spiral Knights. I mean, I know that's bullshit, that I'm not obligated to do anything, but I feel like I owe it to them, sort of, maybe, kind of, I don't know. But I'm here today, and it's been about a month since the new missions went live, and I've only played for them once. But I feel like I played through them enough to get a good idea of what they are. So yeah, if you haven't played through them yet, spoilers are obviously going to be apparent here. That's why I've waited this long. I've also waited this long because I'm a procrastinator. But well, I'm just going to go a brief overview and how I feel about each mission. If I had better equipment, maybe I could do some kind of montage in the background here. But I'm too lazy. That being said, if I get unbored later on, I might try to do something, but we'll roll with the standard looking at the menu while I talk to you for right now. First off is breaking into recruits. I can't help but feel like this is Spiral Knights trying to poke fun at us, but failing horribly because you guys set this one up. At least for the conception of this mission. The conception of this mission is you're Vanguard, so you've got nothing else better to do but fucking escort noobs around. And I apologize for my language and swearing. I expect if you're here, you know I swear. I apologize to anyone who is too young. I don't care. It's words. They're words. I don't care about words. But speaking of young people, noobs, recruits. It's kind of them saying, like, you got nothing better to do because you're a Vanguard and we haven't given you anything better to do in, you know, like 3 years. So they start us off with this. Which would be funny if we weren't 3 years out and I wasn't pissed. Luckily, this mission makes up for it because at the end of it, once again, big spoilers here for anyone who doesn't care. Throughout the entire thing, you're running into these gremlins who are, for the first part, you're running into these gremlins who are disguised as strangers because they're jerks and they attack you. And then at the end of the second floor, or third floor, I can't remember if there's a floor in between, but I know at the end of the mission, you get to fight the Collector again, who is this mini-boss you fight on your, on the battle sprites, to get your battle sprite. And I really like the fight, because I remembered saying in the Collector fight, this fight is a really good fight. If it had been at a higher level, he had had more health, we had had better damage. If it hadn't been, you know, low tier, it would have been a really amazing fight, and they give you that fight here. He's basically unchanged, but the difficulty scaled up for a high tier fight. You know, for that late game fight, and it works stupidly well. I really think they hit the nail on the head with this one. Even if the premise is a little bit insulting, it makes up for it in spades. So I cannot give this mission more approval. I really thought it was a good mission. And I'm not saying that just because it gave me the sparks of life I so desperately needed. I'm not saying it because of that. That was pretty good too, though. Next up, Crimson Chaos. I like this one a little bit less, but I still feel like overall it was an okay mission. Basically, the idea behind this mission is just, you know, we're monitoring the gremlins and all of a sudden they all disappear. And it turns out Herix, who is part of the ongoing storyline, has decided to finally start taking action and start cutting off, you know, the people he deems in, because he's a gremlin, he's decided to cut off the people he doesn't like. And he's going to start, apparently he's going to have to start going after the big 9 gremlins, because we've already offed Cirrus, and I think there was another one that we offed as well, where he was one of the other ones, one of the other 9, so he's going to start going after them, and hopefully we're going to get our Tinkazar fight at some point, you know, what is presumably our final boss. But that's the weird part, is I'm not entirely sold if Tinkazar is going to be the final boss. And the reason for that comes in the next mission, which I have the most mixed feelings about, but in a very good way, because it's a good thing that you're making these mixed feelings because it's not cut and dry. Oh. Last one is, it came from below. Basically, this is, in no uncertain terms, a very mysterious mission. Obviously, look at that. It's barely a paragraph. It's barely even like 3 sentences. Basically, something happened. We don't know what happened. We lost communication. What it really is Baby's first Shadow Lair outing. And by that, I mean not necessarily an actual Shadow Lair, but rather the event afterwards. I cannot remember the name of it. One moment. Okay, I got the word I was looking for. The word I was looking for is the Unknown Passage. I can never remember it because I just call it the Swarm. Because that's what it is. It is the Swarm. You are in the heart of the Swarm. And it's really nice because it's a really good introduction to this. Because I feel like this is actually a very good thing. So don't get me wrong about this. It's how you're going to handle it from here on out that I'm questioning. The reason is because the Unknown Passage, to me, has always been a sort of after-party. The raid itself is the Shadow Lair. The Unknown Passage is kind of just like I said, the after-party. It's what you do afterwards. It's not where the real challenge lies. It's not where the real meat lies of the raid itself. And make no mistake, Shadow Lairs are raids. But that's really where it's more of a story-based thing, and I think it's good that they brought it into the missions here. Problem. The problem is twofold. One, I am slightly disappointed we didn't get to go to Sanctuary. But at the same time, it makes total sense because otherwise the market would be completely flooded with Shadow Lair items. Second problem, the real problem here, not my joking around stupidity. I don't know how you're going to handle this. Are you going to make Shadow Lairs an actual part of the story? Are you going to make them actually missions? If so, I feel like that's a bad move to make. For 2 reasons. One, it'll devalue Shadow Lairs a whole lot. We saw what happened with Vanaduke. You know, people spammed the crap out of it. You know, you could play that on end, especially now. Shadow Lairs, you still have to fight to get to them, and you still have to pay to get into them. Shadow Lairs have been devalued a little bit like the rest of the game, but that was a good thing, because, you know, it made the game more accessible on whole. Unfortunately, that led to a player loss, but neither here nor there at this point. You made some mistakes, you made some things, but we are where we are. We made the bed, we're lying in it. I don't like it, but, you know, that's me. I'm the weird one. But I really don't think we need Shadow Lair missions for 2 reasons. One, paying for them is going to be a bitch, and finding a party is going to be even worse. I don't see how this would work. Because, you know, the idea of a raid is you get together with people and it's a planned thing. The idea of missions is you can kind of not plan them. You can kind of just go. You can't really do that with this kind of a thing. I've seen random parties try and do Shadow Lairs. It's not a good idea, because you've got people of all different skill sets. You've got people who don't know what they're doing, and you have people who are first-timers. I've only completed 2 Shadow Lairs, and it's my biggest regret for this game is never completing Ice Queen or Red Romulus Twins. And I would really like to complete those, but I just don't have the party to do it with. I don't have the backup. And I certainly don't have the knowledge of it, is the other problem. And that's really where I feel like this kind of disconnect would come from. I really feel like if we're going to do... I feel like introducing the Swarm is a good idea to missions. Introducing Shadow Lairs to missions, not necessarily as good of an idea. In fact, it is probably a very bad idea. I feel like Shadow Lairs should be their own separate things. Like, we could still have the Swarm. We could still have, like, we're learning about the Swarm. We're figuring it out. And by the end of it, we'll probably have to confront it in some way along with Tinkazar. That's why I say I don't think Tinkazar is going to be the final boss, because I feel like something from the Swarm will be instead. But I don't think Shadow Lairs themselves should be a part of the missions. But at the same time, Shadow Lairs are such a deep and integral part of the Swarm. You see what happens when the Swarm takes over one of the boss areas. It goes completely nuts. And it's so integral to the Swarm itself. Maybe doing one. Maybe having, like, just the Glooming Wildwoods Swarm. And then having everything else be... The rest of them be, you know, you don't get it. Or not being able to go to Sanctuary for any of them, but making them free. I think that might also be a good compromise. Not a great compromise, mind you, but once again, we're making this bed, and this bed does not look good to be made. But yeah, I just feel like we need to not devalue Shadow Lairs in this way. Devaluing the Unknown Passage, fine. The Unknown Passage is, like I said, it's always been kind of an after party, and having a good way to do it, having a warm-up for it is not a bad thing, because let me tell you, my last Unknown Passage trip was back in 2012. When I did this mission today, I remembered the exact path you take. Once you do a Shadow Lair, you do not forget the Unknown Passage. So, having that knowledge foremost in your mind is a good thing. Having that knowledge and being able to use that is a very good thing. But I just don't feel like the rest of the Shadow Lair needs to be treated in the same way. I really do think that should be an experience to be had. Anyway, that's about all my thoughts for these missions. God knows how this is going to work. Maybe I did some editing magic, maybe not. Maybe you've just been staring at my mission screen the whole time. Who knows? But I felt like I needed to get my opinion out here, and this might have been a rambling mess. This might not have. Maybe this was entertaining, maybe not. I don't know. But now I remembered why I like doing these videos, because I can just talk, and I can have fun, and I can express my views. Which is nice, because I do that, but I don't do it often on camera, not like this at least. So, it is very nice to be back and doing more Spiral Knights videos. The only other thing I might want to bring up is this kind of disappointed me, because I thought this was going to be a new battle sprite, not just another Reek skin. Because seriously, crystals are a joke now, and we really need to find a solution to not just green and blue at this point, but all of them. Because let's face it, the majority of people have max level battle sprites, and the ones who don't are relatively new players who are still playing for the missions and can get their stuff easily. You know, I have a backlog of minerals. Hold on, it's coming. It's thinking about it. I have this many. Yeah, I have that many. These two criminally low, by the way, because nobody else picks them up. I'm the only one who ever picks these up, because I'm trying to get these as high as these, just to prove a point. But the point is still there. I have that much. I have nothing to use them on. I can't sell them. I can't move this merch. I can't move a lot of merch in this game, but that's not really the point here. The point is there should be an in-game use for these items. These items, outside of the once in a blue moon mission that asks for them, because not only do you have to get that mission, but you have to get the 1 in 5 chance to get one of these two. 2 in 5, but whatever. The 2 in 5 chance to get one of these two, that's the only use they have now. And there's no excuse for that. So yeah, I hope that arcade overhaul is coming along, because this is kind of embarrassing. The fact that one of your core mechanics has been rendered obsolete for almost 2 years now. That is actually embarrassing, that a core mechanic has been completely removed from the game. Not to say that I don't think you're doing a hard-working job out there. I mean, you know, these missions are proof that you are working hard. But I'm not quite sure if your attention is directed in the right place. I know people have different skill sets. I know all of this stuff. But at the same time, this game is not perfect. This game is very far from perfect. And I feel like every time we take a step forward, we may take a step back. But I'm just rambling at this point. I am literally just talking at this point. I don't even know what I'm saying. I am speaking at random. I like kittens, but cats don't like me. No, seriously. I love cats, but they hate me. It's sad. I am out of my mind. I will see you next time on Let's Play Dark Dawn or Spiral Knights or whatever I'm doing. See you then!